Hello, everybody. It is April 19th. This is the Helm Dev Stand-Up. I believe everybody on here is familiar with the format, but I'll just review it one more time for people viewing at home. Core maintainers. Well, first we'll start with any announcements. Core maintainers will give their stand-ups, and then we'll open up for any discussions. As far as announcements, I am not aware of any. Does anybody have any announcements?
Is the application survey still up and available? Okay.
It is. We extended it till Monday before SIGApp starts, mostly because nobody's going to be touching it to do any analysis, so we figured why close it prematurely.
Sounds good.
All right, let's jump into stand-ups then. Want to start, Michelle?
Yeah, mainly issue sherping and bug fixing. That's it. Fisher?
Yeah, so earlier this week, Michelle and I were pairing on a bunch of issues. And it was really awesome because we were able to knock out a bunch of issues, not just actually triage them. So that was fantastic. Last week, there was one PR that was merged into master that had basically added Helm package --set and --, values, which when we were testing it out, Matt Butcher actually pointed this out, that it was actually an incompatibility breaker or a compatibility breaker because it basically stripped all the documentation. So I reverted that PR, and that one is out there. It was never going to make it into 2.9, but it was slated for 2.10. So that issue was reopened and whatnot. Other than that, it's been triaging issues and trying to pare down any of the bugs that are available in 2.9 RC3. And I think we're down to one last bug. And I did open and file an issue for that, and I have manually tested it. So if anyone could take a look at it, it's literally a one-line fix. After that, we should be able to do in RC4. I can post the link to the issue after this. So pass it off to Nikhil.
Hey guys, didn't get a chance to work much on Helm this past week, so I don't have much to report. So I will pass it on to Farina.
So the only thing I've been doing mostly other Kubernetes things, and I haven't really touched much of anything with Helm outside of governance. The one thing that I could have brought up under announcements probably is if anybody knows, Dashboard is looking for contributors and even more cores. So if anybody knows anybody who does UIs and wants to go work on the Dashboard project, it's got a really low barrier to entry to get started. Come let me know, I'll send you in the right direction. But I've been mostly fixing up Kubernetes governance stuff and things like that.
Skill set for that is now Angular 5, right?
The what?
For the dashboard?
The dashboard is currently Angular 1, and there is a PR being worked on to update it. So we'll see. I don't know. That's for SIG UI. But if anybody's interested, come chase me down, and I'll be happy to help point you in the right direction. Or if you know people, feel free to send them to me, and I'll send you in the right direction. So with that, I will, let's see. Butcher, you were already talking. I'll pass it to you.
Crap, I opened my mouth. Helm 2 stuff, been helping out here and there with reviewing PRs and trying to test out things. Helm 3 stuff, I have one PR open on the Helm spec for Helm 3 that is about trying to incur some stricter security guidelines for signing things, and so that's been going on for a little while now. I have one I'm about to open about some changes to where releases are stored to kind of formalize that. So we would store releases in the namespace for the release instead of storing them all in the same namespace. So I've got to open that PR. And then the last thing, I've been pairing with Adam here and there to observe as Adam began working on some of the Helm 3 stuff. So I will pass it on to him because it's the natural flow of events here.
Yeah, so I've been heads down all week on Helm. So I got a few patches in for the RCs. Other than that, I've been working on some of the Helm 3 stuff, primarily refactoring out gRPC and removing the separate tiller binary. So I have a working branch with all that is feature parity, which is all a single package. So running Helm right now for the Helm 3 dev work, you don't need a tiller installed, and you still have the full functionality. So it's moving along pretty quickly there. So next step is going to be looking at what do we do with this, because it's just in my personal fork right now. Anybody can go to it and kind of look at it right now, but we want to try to figure out how to move this out of that and into the Helm repo. But we have to decide how we're going to handle change requests moving forward with Helm 2 and Helm 3. So we can probably have that be a discussion topic. Did anybody not give a stand up? Oh, Brian's on.
Yeah, not much. Just paired with Adam a little bit last week on the Helm 3 refactor. Yeah, that's about it. Back to Hot Potato. Hot Potato to who's leading this party?
Reese.
Reese, back to you, Reese.
Josh, did you have anything?
Yeah, so this past week released a plugin that is for pushing to Chart Museum. So instead of like spending time on that proposal that was kind of going out of control, I just made it work with my stuff. So yeah, I don't know where to go from there, but it works. I can give a small demo too if we have time.
Cool. Anybody else have anything?
Hey, maybe I'll just take this chance to introduce myself real quick. I'm not really working on Helm yet, but here to get to know you guys. So I work at Red Hat. I'm on a particular part of OpenShift that's a service broker behind Service Catalog. We're looking at all different kinds of ways that you could potentially use Helm and make sure that technology is matching up well. Very interested in Helm 3, so I'm here to kind of learn, especially what that direction is, what's going on, and hopefully get involved in that effort at some point in the future.
Okay. Have you seen the Helm 3 documentation in the Helm community repo?
I have. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then does anybody else have discussion topics?
Issue sherping with Fisher was really nice this week. We may want to consider, like, after we're done doing a few weeks of the 2 people for PRs, we might want to like consider switching and doing like 2 people for issue sherping, just because it was a really good experience. Up for discussion later.
Buddy system. Okay. Helm 3. Discuss.
So I want to ask a question on Helm 3. And Adam, this impacts you. When do we
Yes.
open up the branch?
Yes, that's what I want to discuss.
Yeah.
Because I'm anxious to have it be somewhere, but besides my fork, there's just a few things that we need to consider with that. Is one, how do we handle feature requests coming in? You know, are we going to still accept features for Helm 2? When are we going to cut that off? Bug fixes coming in. Are we going to ask the submitter to submit to both if it's something that impacts Helm 3 and Helm 2? If you look at the branch there, they've diverged quite a bit. So it's not like we're going to be able to rebase anything. We will have to patch into both moving forward.
Are they close enough you can cherry pick?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, essentially, we removed all of Tiller. All of the middleware between the client and the server is just gone. And then along the way, we did a bunch of stuff to make it streamlined. So it's like, if it's a patch that changes the help text documentation on a flag, there's a good chance we could cherry pick that. But if it's anything anywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no longer protobufs. There's no longer generated code. Everything is straight go. So if it touches any piece of data in the application or any process, it will not.
If it does anything important at all.
If it deals with data, even though that's all we do is really pass around data, then yeah, okay.
Well, and as I recall, we even made changes on which Kubernetes libraries were called, or maybe that was a bug fix on Helm too. I could be wrong.
Did you drop client Go?
We're not miracle workers, Farina.
Not yet. Okay. So if I got it right, the questions were branch, can we open it? Then feature requests, how do we handle feature requests between Helm 2 and Helm 3? And then there were...
Yeah, and when do we want to define a freeze for Helm 2 development?
All right. So my terrible, most painful view in the world is Helm 2, we should probably keep features... Man... So ideally, I'd like to say some features that can be added to Helm 2 and Helm 3 cleanly that don't break Helm 2, I'd like to see going for a little while. I would see maybe, we want to give people time. There are a lot of people using Helm 2. In fact, according to the data, there are some people, probably in CI, who still pull down Helm 2.0.0. Some of them even still pull down, probably in CI, some of the alpha releases. That actually makes me want to put an update thing into Helm to tell people to update. But
well, we don't. That's kind of a moot point then, because if they're still on old releases, then we're not touching those.
You're right. But I'm just saying there's lots of people who continue to use Helm and will update Helm 2 for a while so they trust Helm 3. Lots of companies will say you've got to keep something around for at least 6 months. So I would like to see Helm 3 out. I mean, we'll do patches for a long time on it.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm probably going to be on the longer side of things than on the shorter side.
Yeah, right. my bigger concern is just feature development. You know, it's not the bug fixes. It's not supporting Helm 2. It's, you know, somebody does a bunch of work for some feature and they submit it. Then are we going to accept it to Helm 2, even though it will not be in Helm 3, or do we ask them, hey, in order to get this in Helm 3 when it comes out, you're going to have to submit to a patch to Helm 3 as well?
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
or do we just say no?
Fair. I'm almost of the opinion that say like, so we've got 2.9 that's currently coming out, and we've made promises to people that the features that are not in 2.9 will make it into 2.10. And I know that we're basically at the point where any new features that are coming, like any new features that are committed to the master branch right now, probably will be a very difficult process to get that into the Helm 3 branch. So maybe what we should do is that anything that is open PRs today, and maybe like give it 2 weeks leeway time of any new features that are coming along. We say that's open for feature development for Helm 2. If you want it in Helm 2, this is the window to do it. We'll process those. Bug fixes we can continue to do for Helm 2, potentially patch over to Helm 3 if it makes sense. But after 2.10, perhaps that's when the best point is to say that, okay, we're only taking fixes from now on for Helm 2. And if you want features, then they should probably be putting it into Helm 3 or reconsidering that for Helm 3.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, I was just going to say maybe flip it onto the contributor side of things and say you have to get your feature addition pull request in by this date for it to be considered in Helm 2, or needs to be against Helm 3. Like, give them the cutoff date, because we've had trouble getting it into a version and we bump it another release as we work through that. Maybe the important thing is to say for them, here's the date. Right? So they know, we say by, I don't know, June 1st or May 30th or June 30th. We pick some arbitrary date and say, if you want it to go in Helm 2, then you need the pull request for the feature in by this date in order for it to be considered. Otherwise, develop it against Helm 3.
I mean,
what do you think about that?
Some people are not going to want to use Helm 3 because they're used to Helm 2 and don't necessarily want to go the Helm 3 route. I know we're all for it, but for plenty of people, Helm 2 works just fine.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
You're fine. Why don't we just have a cut, like after 2.10, after this release, we can just say that all the new features that get added to Helm 2, there's no guarantee that that's going to be the functionality in Helm 3. Would that make sense? Instead of stopping development on Helm 2.
Yeah, I think it's going to be both. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
I just keep talking over everybody. I'm sorry. My bigger concern isn't the contributor; it's the end users.
I think you want to be careful to put
more that if an end user has no awareness of our development discussions that are going on with the difference between Helm 2 and Helm 3. This is just somebody who's a basic user. Then they download the latest Helm 2, then they are using these new features, and then move to Helm 3 and something drastically changes, or that isn't an obvious, like, oh, this is a Helm 3 feature. Maybe it's not an issue because it's a major version bump and you can expect breaks, but that's where my concern more is. It's not so much the contributors and making sure that they're happy about their features. I mean, it's kind of obvious that we're doing a major version bump. It's brand new. It's going to have a different feature set. Like, you're probably going to have to repatch in your stuff.
So, I mean, we can be fluid in this, right? We can say, once say June 1st, whatever day we pick, we can say after this day, if you're a contributor and you want to contribute a feature, you have to contribute it both to Helm 2 and Helm 3. And then after this date, we're not going to accept any more features to Helm 2. And we tell people that, so that way we have that continuity and we let people know what they have to do. We're very clear with, you're going to contribute because we are in this squishy space for a while. And as long as we communicate it clearly.
Yeah, and to the other point about how people might be confused about where a new feature in Helm 2 did not necessarily port over to Helm 3. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say that if a Helm 2 feature exists, but it got merged after the fact that we had rebased on Helm 3 and whatnot, and it's not present in Helm 3, because Helm 3 would be relatively new at that stage, then if people are missing functionality, then they can just PR that feature over to Helm 3 if it makes sense. So I think that would make sense from a development model, in the sense that if someone develops something brand new for Helm 2.10, doesn't make it into Helm 3, If they want that feature, then the onus would be on the user or on the contributor to contribute that to Helm 3. It wouldn't necessarily be on us to patch that forward.
Yeah, but so here's what's going to happen. Somebody who's going to stick with Helm 2 is going to go do the pull request to it. They're going to be happy sticking around in Helm 2. Somebody else who's a user who doesn't contribute, because most of our users don't contribute, they're going to go and they're going to start saying, I'm going to switch to Helm 3. Oh, that feature that was in Helm 2 isn't there. Then they're going to come back and blame us, the people who maintain it, for not porting that feature over. Even though, but that's,
Yeah.
a lot of this is actually managing.
That was basically my point I was trying to make is I'm trying to avoid that, users that are unaware of this process that we're going through and them being mad at me. And I don't like it when people are mad at me.
I think that
one other thing too is that, oh, sorry.
You're fine. We're so bad at this. Go ahead.
One other thing we have to consider too is like when we want to start pushing for people to actually submit changes to Helm 3, because right now I do not want people messing with it because it is in such a rapid development stage that some stuff is in there as like temporary solutions for the purpose of refactoring something else. So it's very much a development branch where having people contribute patches to that might not be helpful for the development process.
To be clear, what you're talking about is we don't want community contributions yet because only the people who are very focused on this understand this piece of functionality is still in transition while this, right? It's not that you want to be the only people, it's that you don't want.
No.
That's what I thought. I just didn't want you to accidentally commit yourself.
You're ripping out Tiller, which is a massive change, and that alone means, hey, everybody take a pause on touching it because this is an oh my gosh huge change, right?
Right.
Yeah. So does anybody have a proposal? Because we discussed a few different things. Does anyone have a proposal?
Well, I'm more in favor of, I'm sorry, whoever I cut off. I'm more in favor of the freeze date now that we've had this discussion. I just want to say, like, when we do have the alpha release, we can make it a point to like make a big push to the people who have contributed features, be like, hey, like just make sure that your functionality exists. This is kind of the time to fill in any gaps. And just make a big community push to do that. Sorry, Butcher. I think that's the person.
Can we add a rider to your proposal that we will use GitHub labels to track features that are incoming now in this particular window so that people can keep on top of stuff? Like,
and then I'll just wait for Farina to write up a document in the repo for the policy. And I will go with that.
You mean Butcher? I think you had the wrong Matt. Matt Butcher.
I distinctly remember you inviting us to put all the work on you. At the beginning of this meeting.
This isn't something that has to be decided today, but I think it needs to be pretty soon. So maybe
to me the idea of having sort of the freeze window sort of makes sense, especially if we want to focus users. If we want to focus users to upgrade to V3, then making sure that any new features that come in go into V3 would give them sort of a carrot to upgrade as well, right? So it would be sort of positive reinforcement channeling them to the right direction.
Yeah, and I think we can't really make a cutoff window for Helm 2 development until we're ready on the Helm 3 development to start accepting PRs.
Yeah.
So do we have Adam, do you know, like, no commitment to timelines or anything like that, but do you know if like things would start slowing down in say 3-4 weeks or 5-6 weeks to start accepting contributions on the Helm 3 development branch? Or
don't rush me, bro.
So can I
It's
just
kind of too early to say that.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep the branch always be like a working branch, like have it not be broken. But there are still some things in the proposal that are not concrete, so they might be changing quite a bit. So it's kind of hard to say right now.
Right.
Yeah, Karina.
Can I just, if we don't know when we'd want to do the date, maybe the thing we do is every one of these meetings we come back and say, are we ready to talk about a date yet? And if the answer is no, we bump it to the next meeting. If the answer is we think so, then we'll have the date conversation. And in the meantime, we can track stuff with labels, as Butcher pointed out.
Yeah, I think what I want to walk away with this meeting is, one, do we open a new branch? And two is what do we tell people when they ask questions?
I'll propose to that. Yes, we open a new branch, and the proposal would be we tell people that we're currently making a major architectural change, and so we're asking people to hold off on their pull requests until that major change is done to remove tiller. And if they want to dig into why, if somebody actually is curious why, then we'll answer that question. Otherwise, they just know we're removing tiller, and it's a big architectural change, and so most people would be okay waiting, going, oh my God, I don't touch that. Glad you do.
And I'd be happy to make the action item to actually update the README or the documentation to put that in there to say that we're not currently accepting PRs in the Helm 3 development branch while it's still under construction.
Is there something you can do with like a bot? Can you use something with a bot that's like, once they do a PR, like get out of here, go away?
We could do PR templates like Kubernetes does for both the branch and the master, submitting to master, just like the main PR queue, in which, in the main PR queue, we can let them know that we're not accepting features for Helm 3 development and for the...
Yeah, but we could just update the README on that branch to be the construction guy.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
And whoever's the Sherpas, if they see it, could also just say, hey, right now we're not doing it if somebody does submit one, because some people just aren't going to read the docs anyway. And so if the Sherpa comes across one, they could say, here's the current status of it. Here's what's going on. We'll let you know when we're ready for that. And odds are your PR isn't going to work in the future anyway because the major changes. But we can politely say something.
Yeah, I think this can be a coordinated effort amongst the community. So the issue Sherpas kind of shielding Adam and whoever else is doing Helm 3 development from having to deal with the cognitive overhead of accepting PRs or shutting them down.
All right, cool. And we are a minute over. Does anybody have anything else?
We do need to figure out the Sherpas and moderator and note takers.
And can we schedule the Josh's demo for next week? Because I would like to see it.
Yes, I'll be here. Matt Farina, is there any update on the YAML stuff?
No, I have not had a chance to dig further. I think I might actually make a proposal to switch to JSON in Helm 3, but I'll come back to that later. I'm sorry, I just haven't had time. It'll probably be after KubeCon now.
Yes, I sadly won't be there, but
me either.
I hope everyone has a great time.
Yeah, I won't be there either. We can powwow. I'll be your misery buddy. All right, elections.
I'll Sherpa issue queue next week.
Take notes next week.
I'll moderate next week.
I will do something the week after KubeCon. I'm a busy guy, but can I shadow someone on one of these responsibilities so I understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, says the guy taking notes. Please shadow me. Take notes next week.
Okay.
You can also help me moderate. We'll complete each other's sentences like we're doing now, except we're not. Sorry, go ahead.
Sign me up. It's fine.
So that's what you were doing. You weren't cutting me off. You were finishing my sentence.
I was trying. We were failing at it.
Yeah.
Team building activity.
Yeah. All right. Is that it? Do we have anything else?
I think so.
I'll send you a script, Josh. Bye.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody.